Brennan's amazing advice for leveling up could change the way you DM your games, and perfectly illustrates the biggest difference between himself and Matt Mercer.
Please, go on.
Before we talk leveling up tips and the big difference between these two amazing dungeon masters, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons? It really does only take a second, and it really does help these videos keep coming. And then, let's talk some Critical Role. Critical Role just released their first level up video for Campaign 4. And in it, Brennan introduced a new way of having the cast level their character that really highlights the key difference in DM styles between himself and Matt Mercer. So let's take a look at the amazing new way Brennan is handling leveling up in Campaign 4, and then we can break down exactly how it perfectly captures that big difference in Dungeon Master styles between himself and Matt. Brennan kicked off the first ever level up video for Campaign 4 by revealing that while they would roll hit points and talk about potential stat increases or feat choices in this between sessions video, unlike every Critical Role campaign before, these level ups wouldn't just instantly happen. The players would be allowed to choose a time and place during their next adventure to make their own level up occur, creating the possibility of some truly epic moments. Brennan walked each of the characters through their potential options available as they hit level 4, but from feats to ability score increases, they just basically narrowed down each character to a couple of possible options. And then, during the next session, if a time comes in the story, even if it's mid-combat, where the players feel like it would make sense for them to gain one of those feats or abilities, they could finalize their choice right then and there at the table and trigger their own level up.
You guys have these sort of like different directions your characters can go in. From this point on, if you guys find a moment, it can be a moment mid-combat. It can be a moment of deep emotional significance for your character. It could be a moment of ponderous research in an arcane library or deep connection to the magical worlds and realms of Ahriman and beyond. Wheresoever you deem fit, as far as I'm concerned, you have earned your level up. It is just about you taking a narratively satisfying moment to do it.
We saw Brennan do something kind of similar during his run as DM on EXU Divergence, where he had the cast level up in the middle of combat, but even then that was kind of at his discretion, and this time he's leaving the choice fully up to the players themselves, which is an incredible trick you can work into your own campaign to help create some amazing moments as the players choose to level up for, that final last boost of strength to overpower the gnoll trying to stab them, or to suddenly gain that skill or feat they need to keep from blowing their disguise on a crucial stealth mission. It opens a door to some really great roleplay moments, and also keeps your players really invested in the upcoming combats and social encounters as they look for that perfect place to pop their level up. And it also does an amazing job of highlighting that key difference between Brennan and fellow Critical Role DM Matt Mercer. To put it simply, you could say that Matt Mercer is a world builder and Brennan Lee Mulligan is a storyteller. Obviously both are incredibly capable of handling either of those aspects, but it's more about where their focus lies as a dungeon master. Matt Mercer seems most interested in crafting a detailed narrative and building a fully fleshed out lore-filled world and having his players interact with that. And Brennan seems more about telling the best collaborative story with his players, which makes a lot of sense when you consider his big improv background. Matt is the DM who is always showing up at the table with pages of notes and notes on NPCs and the lore of the city or area the cast are exploring, and finding interesting ways to tailor the backstories of his NPCs into this elaborate, lovingly crafted world he's been creating behind the scenes since the start of the campaign, and then hopefully guiding the players to discover those little moments. Whereas Brennan, as we see in this level up video, is more about giving his players ways of creating those big character-based moments themselves, and then using that as the basis for telling an incredible story as he reacts to their choices and adapts the framework of his overarching storyline to fit it on the fly. And I guess to put it in more simple terms, you could really say that Matt builds a world to tell a story, and Brennan tells a story to build a world. In a very ironic way, you can kind of argue that Matt Mercer is more like D&D, with his focus on rules and world building and the crafting of NPCs, etc., and then Brennan is more like Daggerheart, allowing his characters to collaborate in the narrative more and shape their own big moments and story, and just kind of working that to fit his narrative on the fly. Now, as mentioned before, both incredibly talented DMs can clearly do a great job with the other's area of expertise. It's just more about what they choose to focus their time on. Brennan's done some truly amazing world building for Ahriman and Campaign 4 so far, and we've definitely seen Matt Mercer have to adapt on the fly to character choices at the table to give the cast more input into that story that he's been crafting for so long. These are just usually not their primary focus as a DM. And both styles are equally valid, as it really does depend on how your players want to play the game and what makes the most sense at your own table. And luckily, in the case of Critical Role's incredibly talented cast, we've seen that both styles have created some truly amazing stories and moments across multiple campaigns. And now we just can't wait to see more of how Matt Mercer, now in the role of player, brings his incredible talent for creating lore and world building to the table as Sir Julian Davenos to make some epic new moments himself when we get back to our first Seekers arc of Brennan's campaign sometime early next year. So what do you think? Which DM style is closer to the one used at your table? And will you try Brennan's advice for mid-session level ups? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.